Welcome back to another episode of Asbro Reacts. I'm your boy Asbro, and today, Russian icon. Have you heard of it? Have you heard of it? It's a book. It's a book that gives actual depictions of what certain historical figures look like and what race they might have been. And it also go over what the actual meaning of the Dark Ages is. Because when I was in school and coming up, they told us the Dark Ages was just a terrible time where everything was bad and it was bad, and luckily we had the white kings and them and they was good, but everything else for everyone else was bad. When really the Dark Ages was when white people was at their lowest and they wasn't ruling the world. It was actually being ruled by black people, and they was doing a wonderful and tremendous job. Isn't that crazy? There's not enough time, like people like Constantine, Beethoven, they black. That's why the Renaissance era is an era where they just went back and painted over all the black people and called them white. But the Russian icon is a book that survived, where it actually showed the true depictions of the people, and it's not whitewashed. So, you know, me, you already know I had to check this out. I had to get up on this because I was like, what? For real? Come on now. You know your brother gotta see that. So, you know, help a brother out. Hit that like and subscribe button down there. You know, go ahead, help that brother out, and let's go ahead and get into these videos.
Would you like to know why they called it the Dark Ages? It's because they were describing a time when black people ruled the goddamn world, my boy. Get this book. It's called The Russian Icons. This shit ain't cheap. I'm telling you now, it ain't cheap. But the information that is in this bitch hill, you can find videos of people showing you the pages. Oh my God. Proof is here. This is why they hate Russia. It's because Russia is single-handedly going to destroy the white utopia. All the whitewashed history, all the misinformation, all that shit's being erased. And the truth is coming back to light. This is what World War III is really over. The archives. The truth is coming back to light. That's why all these racist nations are rising again and throwing themselves face first into battle. They are fighting for the narrative of their goddamn colonial existence. This is what World War III is going to be over. It ain't none of that shit y'all talking about. 100.
You ever heard of the Dark Ages?
Yes.
If you go to the Dark Ages of Europe, the reason why the white man called it the Dark Ages is because he was ruling and he was in, or black people was ruling, he was in his low state. He was not ruling. So the King James, the Beethovens, the Constantine, all of the rulers that we think were white people were not white people. That's why they had what's called the Renaissance era, where they would take all the images of the black people and then just paint them white. But if you get a book called like the Russian Icons, it'll tell you in the book called the Russian Icons, it'll tell you that this is the artwork that survived the whitewashing of the Renaissance era.
In the book Russian Icons by Father Vladimir Ivanov, recently rediscovered, we find the most interesting collection of Christian icons. It is of high interest for two reasons. Number one, it depicts the various Christian icons as black. And number two, this is not found in Western Europe, but well in Eastern Europe and Russia. This means that black people were venerated as deities from Spain to France, Italy, Germany, and all the way to Russia. In some, all over Europe. There are at least 500 black Madonnas in Europe, not counting the ones hidden in the Vatican, 128 in France alone. And you need to remember that these icons survived multiple waves of iconoclasm. This means that in the past, they would have been ubiquitous throughout Europe, before the great artists like Michelangelo and Leonardo were commissioned to start painting the classic Europeanized face of Jesus that we know today. So then, as always, if we ask the critical questions, if the mainstream historical narrative is true, and that black people have never achieved anything of note in history, why then were they depicted and venerated all over Europe? Even more intriguing, what were black people doing in so many depictions, descriptions, sculptures, and plays in Europe at all? For those who have been listening, it is simply because they were present in such numbers, and it yielded such influence that even the planned erasure and systematic destruction of the icon survived from Western Europe to Eastern Europe, from Germany to Italy.
And now they have to deal with the black Jesus. That's going to be hard for them. But for Islam, alhamdulillah, we know that all of them are dark. Any Middle Eastern person in summertime is dark. So this is our way, this is our culture. We never believe that the men of God look like Hollywood people. They look like Middle Eastern people. So alhamdulillah, they have to now come to the recognition that the three wise men maybe were a little bit dark. They had turbans, so they're probably Naqshbandi. Right? There's no turbans then. Even in their movies they don't show them with turbans. They show all of them with the kifah. All the Bedouins and all the people in the stables, everywhere they go, kifah, kifah. But Allah put in three wise men, means the awliya. Three of them have turbans, three of them are dark skinned, coming from the east. So how many of the signs of Allah that people want to deny?
Russia has opened its cellars to reveal remarkable paintings of Jesus dating back to the 1400s.
By Father Vladimir Ivanov. This is a book that is highly coveted by different circles because it has the black icons. It has the history of black people in places like Russia, in Italy, in places all over Europe. This book can range from $1,300 to $3,000, so it's not an easy book to get. I actually borrowed this book from a friend, you know. But this book has a lot of interesting depictions in it. A lot of them pertaining to the Bible. Like right here, this is the Transfiguration of Christ. And you see it's black people in caves, I believe, what it looks like. It's black people in the whole picture, but this is knowledge that escapes black people here in America. It's definitely something that we would never see or never hear about in the educational system. Now I'm pretty sure there's people that are black history college students majoring in black history or world history, and they never seen nothing like this before. At least not from the standpoint of Europe, you know. This is the crucifixion of Christ, and in it we see angels, black angels. The people surrounding him are black. is very interesting because the images that we see are contrary to what we have known our whole lives, or what we have been taught our whole lives. Like I'll say it again, like these type of images of antiquity escaped black people here in America, and I can say all people, for in general, just people in general don't know. I'm pretty sure there's plenty of Caucasian people and people of all nationalities that don't know the extent that black people covered the earth. And in many cases, like here, like what you see, we're in rulership position. Like this looks like a king.
The images of Jesus and other historical figures in Russia's black icons challenge the commonly known perception of antiquity and reveal the extent of black people's presence and influence throughout history. Paintings from the 1500s and 1600s depicting black icons, including Jesus and Mary, in a highly sought-after book that explores the history of black people in Russia, Italy, and other parts of Europe. The book contains interesting depictions of black people in biblical scenes, which is knowledge that is not taught in the American educational system. However, debates concerning the authenticity of these icons goes on.
The Virgin Mary, and his people black or white? This has been a long debated question. Europe has always tried to depict Jesus as a fair white man with blue eyes, long blonde hair, and tall height. This was further strengthened by paintings from the 15th century, where Jesus appeared much like a typical European man. But does this prove Jesus was white? Well, not necessarily. The recent 14th and 15th century paintings revealed by Russia prove that Jesus was not white but black. He, his mother, and the people around him were all black. That's a groundbreaking revelation, questioning why Europe depicted Jesus as white until now. So, what have we found in the centuries-old Russian cellars and vaults? What people have been shown in the paintings found in these vaults that completely change biblical teachings? Let's know about that in this video. Recently, news surfaced that Russian President Vladimir Putin has ordered the relocation of one of Russia's most sacred icons from a museum to a Moscow Cathedral. For centuries, these paintings remained locked in vaults, but now, the world has the chance to observe them. This fundamentally changes our understanding of Jesus, his mother, and his disciples. These paintings are called the Russian icons, which are collections of hundreds of paintings depicting Jesus' era and his life. In Russian Icons, Father Vladimir Ivanov explores Russian iconography in depth, offering insights into the history, symbolism, and spiritual significance of these sacred artworks.
Icons dating back to the 14th century brought together from private collections across Russia.
It's very beautiful. It gives you goose pimples. It's a remarkable exhibition.
It's an exhibition which feeds the senses. Everything is so grey outside at the moment, and here suddenly it's a feast for the eyes.
and it's a feast that marks 100 years since religious icons started to be recognised as works of art. Before then, they were mainly viewed as religious objects, often left blackened over the centuries by the passage of time and added layers of paint.
When
we learned how to remove the dark layers, we discovered underneath an overwhelming beauty, to such an extent that it shocked André Matisse, who was in Moscow at the time. He said, "It's here that artists should come to learn to paint, not to Italy."
But today, only a small number of these masterpieces remain. Most were destroyed during the Soviet era.
These icons are the survivors. If museums hadn't saved them, they wouldn't exist today. There are 50,000 icons in Russian museums. Before, there were millions.
But now the future of this part of Russian heritage is up for debate. Are the icons best held by museums, or should they be returned to the country's churches?
Look at this. Just take a look. This statue here you see is of Peter in the back. Black Peter. The Apostle Peter, black. Look at this Ark of the Covenant. If you can look, you got black images, all of the prophets and the Israelites that they're carrying. Talking about they just discovered it. No, they didn't. This one was painted by Luke, jet black Mary, jet black Christ, covered with gold. Look at this. Inside one of the cathedral. Look on the walls. Black images of angels, of God.
Ladies and gentlemen, people of Russia, today we stand on the precipice of a monumental revelation, a moment that redefines not only our understanding of history, but also the path forward for our great nation. In an extraordinary discovery hidden beneath centuries of lore and legend, we have opened what can only be described as the oldest vault known to mankind. What we found within its ancient confines challenges the very fabric of our beliefs and heralds a new dawn for our country. Within this vault, we discovered figures of biblical proportions, characters that many have read about, debated, and revered. These figures, preserved against the sands of time, reveal a truth that is as profound as it is transformative. They are all black. This revelation, this undeniable truth, stands before us not as a contradiction to our faith, but as a testament to the diversity and unity that faith embodies. As your president, I see this moment not as a challenge to our beliefs, but as an opportunity to embrace a wider, more inclusive understanding of our history and spirituality. Russia, in its rich tapestry of cultures, traditions, and peoples, is uniquely positioned to lead the world into this new era of understanding and acceptance. From this day forward, let us proclaim our nation under the guidance of Black Jesus, a figure who represents not just the cornerstone of Christian faith, but also a symbol of the universal values of love, compassion, and brotherhood. This Black Jesus, whose likeness and history have been unveiled from the oldest vault, is a message to us all that divinity knows no color, that spiritual truth transcends race, and that our common humanity binds us more tightly than our differences divide us. Let this discovery remind us that history is not just the story of those who wield power, but also of those whose contributions have been overlooked or forgotten. It challenges us to re-examine what we know, to question our assumptions, and to open our hearts to the broader possibilities of understanding and faith. As we embark on this journey of discovery and understanding, let us do so with open minds and compassionate hearts. Let us build a nation that truly reflects the teachings of Black Jesus, a nation that stands for justice, equality, and love for all, regardless of race or creed.
Have you ever seen or heard of biblical icons where Jesus or the Virgin Mary have dark skin, or even Abraham or King David? Then look beyond Europe. Russia has opened its vaults to reveal biblical icons featuring darker-skinned figures. In case this is making you wonder if Russia has its own twist on biblical figures, The answer is a no. This is not the case at all. This is, a matter of fact, as real as the untouched horizon of time. These icons aren't just artistic anomalies. These hold deep meanings of hidden shaded truths, sparking serious, curious questions about history and faith, representation, and the unexpected corners of religious art. Pay close attention, amazing people. You are just about to hear it today, like it is, in this video.
While you was distracted last week about that social media ban, let me show you what was really going on. Because they know if you could get your hands on this information here, you'll tear them up.
Russia has opened its cellars to reveal remarkable paintings of Jesus dating back to the 1400s. Have you ever seen or heard of biblical icons where Jesus or the Virgin Mary have dark skin? Or even Abraham or King David? Then look beyond Europe. Russia has opened its vaults to reveal biblical icons featuring darker-skinned figures. In case this is making you wonder if Russia has its own twist on biblical figures, the answer is a no. This is not the case at all. This is, a matter of fact, as real as the untouched horizon of time. These icons aren't just artistic anomalies. These hold deep meanings of hidden shaded truths, sparking serious, curious questions about history and faith, representation, and the unexpected corners of religious art. Pay close attention, amazing people. You are just about to hear it today, like it is, in this video. In the Bible that the Americans turned white when they told the stories to us. But Russians didn't get the memo. They went off for real history. Songs of Solomon. USA is also a great deceiver, and so many people inherit the wrong lesson from their great-grandparents and their parents, to the point where it's so deep that the lie is made true when the real answer is really just right there. But you never look, because why would you?
San Angelo in Rome is currently hosting an exhibition of 40 Russian icons that have left their country for the first time. They are pieces of art that were hidden after the October Revolution of 1917 in order to protect them from anti-religious destruction.
There's been so much debate going on around the world of late, bestirred by the unveiling of these black biblical icons. Some tend to think that the icons had blackened over time due to age, while others say that the blackness of the icons has nothing to do with age but are a measure of accuracy meant to depict the actual color of the skins of the people painted.
Crazy. That's crazy. Did you see Adam and Eve? That's crazy. That is, I mean, I already knew Adam and Eve was black, but all those historical figures just throughout history, black, and they painted over them to make them white, because it was when white people was at their lowest point. Let me get close in so you can see what I'm saying when I say this. That is diabolical. That is the most nastiest of nasty works. Straight nasty work. No wonder why the United States hurt Russia so fucking much. Because Russia don't mind telling the fucking truth. That is just nasty, nasty, nasty work. Crazy. Crazy. But hey, what can you expect from people who want to be superior? What can you expect from them who've always wanted to be superior and never felt like they were superior? When they finally got the chance, we saw what they were willing to do. Complete whitewash history. But drop a like and subscribe for a brother, because you know, I'm your boy Azrael, and this has been another episode of Azrael Reacts, and I'll catch you guys next time. Deuces!